The laughter fills the house. Jake was an extremely optimistic and humorous person who always enjoyed creating laughter and joy. His smile could infect those around him, making them forget their troubles and enjoy the beauty of life. Jake lived in a quiet little village where the people loved him. He often chatted happily with friends at the village entrance or took walks in the fields, enjoying the fresh air of nature. Whenever someone felt down or faced difficulties, Jake would always be there with his witty humor to cheer them up, helping them regain their spirits. Jake's humorous wit and extensive repertoire of jokes made him a legendary figure in the village. Both children and the elderly enjoyed his company because being with him was always full of joy and happiness. One day, Jake learned that the village's old grandfather was ill, which deeply concerned him. The old grandfather was the elder of the village and Jake's childhood playmate, and they shared a deep bond. For Jake, bringing happiness to others was a very joyful thing, and he believed that laughter could heal all difficulties and pains. Therefore, he decided to visit the old grandfather, hoping to bring some happiness with a few jokes and humor. He immediately tidied up and prepared to go to the old grandfather's house. Jake eagerly entered the old grandfather's house, only to find the old grandfather lying in bed, looking a bit dejected. When the old grandfather saw Jake, a hint of relief appeared on his face. Jake walked to the bedside, greeted him softly, and then began to tell the old grandfather some humorous jokes and anecdotes. Jake's jokes always made people chuckle, and after hearing them, the old grandfather couldn't help but burst into laughter, breaking the heavy atmosphere instantly. Seeing the old grandfather laughing so happily, Jake also felt very pleased. He knew that happiness and laughter were the best medicine, capable of helping people dispel worries and relieve stress. With Jake's company, the old grandfather's mood gradually improved, and he looked at Jake gratefully, thanking him for his care and companionship. He said he felt much better and might recover soon. Hearing this good news, Jake also smiled happily. He knew his efforts hadn't been in vain, and being able to bring some happiness to the old grandfather was the greatest reward. However, Jake's jokes unexpectedly led to a series of misunderstandings and comical situations. He told a joke about a dancing chicken, describing how the chicken danced merrily on the farm, making other animals laugh. However, the old grandfather misunderstood Jake's meaning, thinking he was mocking his old age for still wanting to dance. The old grandfather suddenly stood up, his face full of anger. "You little rascal, are you making fun of me? Do you think an old man like me can't dance anymore?" His tone became somewhat harsh, surprising Jake. Jake quickly waved his hands to explain. No, Grandpa, you've misunderstood. I just wanted to bring you some joy. It's just a joke." He tried to explain hurriedly, but the old grandfather's emotions had become somewhat agitated, no longer willing to listen to explanations, and even more convinced that Jake was mocking him. Although there was some initial awkwardness, in the end, the old grandfather was still infected by Jake's humor. He looked at Jake's smile and sincere eyes, gradually letting go of his anger and beginning to understand Jake's good intentions. Thus, a smile gradually appeared on the old grandfather's face, transforming into a radiant smile. "Ha ha ha, young man, you're quite a funny guy." The old grandfather laughed heartily, the sound echoing throughout the room, instantly dispelling the previous feelings of depression and displeasure. Jake also laughed happily, seeing that the old grandfather could finally relax, feeling very relieved. He knew that laughter was the best medicine, capable of dispelling people's worries and pressures, allowing them to regain happiness and hope. Thus, accompanied by laughter, Jake and the old grandfather spent a moment full of joy and warmth. They shared jokes with each other, reminiscing about the past. Unknowingly, the room was filled with a warm and happy atmosphere. This humorous and warm interaction made their relationship even closer and greatly relieved the old grandfather's mood. From that day on, Jake became the king of laughter in the village. People came to him one after another, hoping to hear his jokes and humorous stories, making life happier and more enjoyable. Every day, Jake's house was always bustling with many villagers who wanted to see his style. They sat beside Jake, listening to him tell various interesting stories or humorous scenes from the anthropomorphized animal world. Jake's jokes always made people burst into laughter, and his humorous stories made people laugh uncontrollably. Not only children, but even the elders in the village enjoyed listening to his jokes. They would gather together to listen to Jake's stories like children, bursting into laughter. Sometimes, the farmers and women in the village would also take time off from their hard work to listen to Jake's jokes, relaxing a bit from the laborious farm work. Jake enjoyed the happiness of being the king of laughter. He knew that he could bring joy and happiness to the people in the village, which made him feel very satisfied. He felt that his humor had found a place to shine, and his laughter could soothe people's souls, allowing them to forget the worries and difficulties of life. The people in the village were also grateful to Jake, considering him a precious asset to the village, and they would always thank him whenever they saw him. In Jake's laughter, life in the village became more colorful and people's spirits became richer and happier. Jake's humorous stories also brought the people in the village closer together. They often gathered together, sharing laughter and joy, making life more beautiful. In Jake's jokes, the people in the village found a common joy and emotional resonance. Whether young or old, they could find happiness and warmth from Jake's stories. Laughter became the bridge of communication for them, and whenever they gathered, they could feel endless joy and emotional connection. Jake's humorous stories were not just entertainment, they were also a source of strength. Under his guidance, the people in the village learned to face the difficulties and challenges of life with more optimism and cheerfulness. They understood that laughter was the best medicine, capable of healing the wounds of the soul and reigniting people's hopes and passions. Therefore, the people in the village were always happy to spend pleasant moments with Jake. Whenever there was a gathering or event, Jake was always invited to be the protagonist. His humorous stories became the highlight of the occasion, leaving people lingering in endless joy and happiness. With the company of laughter, life in the village became more fulfilling and rich, and people's friendships became stronger and more solid.